how you feel to be here in Mexico?
I love Mexico.
You love Mexico?
We've been having, we wish we got to stay a lot longer, actually.
Yeah.
Do you like tacos? Tacos? No?
Of course.
Tacos?
I love tacos.
With salsa?
I got to try. We flew in last night, and we have to fly out tonight, unfortunately. But we've both been to Mexico many times before. But I got to try a lot of local specialties today during one of the interviews, actually, and it was very delicious.
What was your first talk when they offered to write this story? You were excited?
It was actually Greg Silverman, who's running Warner Brothers. I sat down with him and we discussed some things we were both passionate about, and out of that conversation we ended up melding the true history of the Congo with the mythology of Tarzan in this 1 10-minute burst. That was really where it all began, was that one meeting, and then it's gone through all kinds of iterations since then. But it happened fast, and usually when it happens fast, you know you're onto something good.
Alexander, how do you to prepare for this role physical?
Well, I had about 3 months of prep. I was shooting something else at the time, but started working out, started eating. I wanted to put on some weight, get a little bit bigger, without getting too big. It was important the physicality is obviously key, but it was important that when John returned, so the movie opens in London with him as Lord Greystoke, and then he returns to his roots, to the Congo. It was important that he can move like an animal because it's his natural habitat. He was born and raised out there. So it was quite exciting. It was fun. I had Wayne McGregor, who's one of the best choreographers in the world, with me, and we got to kind of work on the physicality of Tarzan and deciding on. So it was not only lifting weights and eating chicken breasts. It was a lot of Pilates, yoga stuff to work on to try to be a little bit more nimble and flexible and agile.
Do you have any anecdote with Margot Robbie? Because we hear that she punched hard.
Yeah, there's a moment when John and Jane return to this village where Jane lived as a teenager, and they reconnect with her African family, and it's a very happy moment. And that night they're alone, and there's a sex scene, and David Yates, the director, wanted it to be very primal, and he's like, I want John and Tarzan and Jane.
A little bodice rippy, right?
Yeah,
a little bodice ripping on that. Right? Yeah, definitely.
He wanted it to be like, because it's right before we're kind of torn apart, and then for a big chunk of the movie we're fighting to get back together. So you wanted to feel the passion. You want to feel like the connection between them, and we shot it. And Margot, who's so sweet and so lovely, obviously didn't want to hurt me, but David kept egging her on and like, punch him as we were shooting the scene, making love. He's like, claw him, punch him, scratch him.
Yeah. Which was the biggest challenge with this movie?
I don't really know. Looking back on it, it was very daunting, obviously, the opportunity to take on such an iconic character, but I was so excited about it because I loved the script. I met with David, and he's such an incredible filmmaker, but also a lovely human being. And then when the cast came together, I was riding on such a high that it was just pure adrenaline for 8 months, basically. There were definitely moments that were tough, and the training and all that was intense and tough, and the diet was. I like to eat hearty, fatty food, and I like to drink alcohol, and it was 8 months on a very, very strict diet, which was, I cried myself to sleep on a couple of occasions.
I would tease him about the beers and drinks I would be having when we finished up for the day.
Do you think that Tarzan is like a hero?
Absolutely, yeah. But I think that he is, I think the approach that we all took on this was, it's kind of like if you took an athlete who was just slightly more athletic than Usain Bolt, and you had him grow up in a jungle environment where he had to fight for every morsel of food. What would that person physically become. So there's a sequence in there that has to do with the fact that his knuckles are different than ours, because he grew up when his knuckles were growing, they grew differently because he was moving like the rest of his clan. So it was just kind of a fundamental approach on the physicality of this thing that we kind of grew out from there.
And no pressure for me as an actor to try to be more physical than Usain Bolt.
So but you did. I mean, it's certainly on screen, right?
We faked it.
Yeah,
we faked it well.
What? No.
No, but it was incredibly fun. I loved it, and it was such a wonderful team of people working on that together and discovering that physicality. And in a way, it's almost like the original superhero, because it's.
Yeah, he was Spider-Man before Spider-Man. Right?
Yeah,
like all of those iconic shots you see of Spider-Man, like Tarzan did it first.
But what's kind of badass about the character is also that there are no gimmicks, there are no like gadgets or no mutation or no cape or special thing. It's like, what is this man capable of, or what, because he grew up out of necessity in the jungle, learning how to fight and survive, and it's just a heightened version of a human being in a way.
Thanks a lot for your time. I hope to see the movie because I huge fan from Tarzan since I was a little. Thank you for your time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
It's
Nice to meet you.
My name is John Clayton III.
You are Tarzan! Tarzan!
La leyenda de Tarzán.